Hey, what's up everyone? So, welcome back to another Freestyle Friday today. Today I'm going to be going over some current events that are happening right now and giving my take on things as kind of like my opinion or whatever. But I want to inform you guys in case you don't know about some of these things. So, let me get my notes ready here. First thing I want to talk about today is global warming. And I know some of you are probably like, it's a myth or whatever, but it's still something to keep an eye on with some of the news that comes out about it. I know some people think it's a conspiracy theory, other people think it's real. I think that there's some truth to both sides. I don't think it's 100% fake, but I don't know that it's 100% real. I do think that we do need to care about our environment. We do need to care about the earth because, you know, the things that we do now impact what happens later. So, I was reading an article and it says levels at the NOAA's Mauna Loa Observatory averaged more than 410 parts per million in April and May, surging past yet another climate milestone for the amount of CO2 emissions we have out there. And while it may seem like that's a lot, at the same time it's not a ton. In my personal opinion, I think we have a lot more to go, but I don't want to put more out there, the point I'm trying to. So if you have a way to ride your bicycle to work, or you can carpool or do anything to help eliminate these emissions, that would be great. I mean, I'm not asking you to bike 45 miles to work, obviously, but the point is you know, be self-conscious, you know, pick up after yourself, you know, all these different things. We can plant more trees. There's a lot of things we can do. And I know some people are like, well, why are you talking about, you know, the earth and all? Because it's important. Yes, we may die one day, but we pass it off to our kids and their kids and all that, and we want to leave a nice environment for them. Because I mean, asthma has risen more in the last couple of years. More health conditions are arising because of pollution. I mean, even living in LA or other places like that, or New York, where there's high, dense traffic and things like that, the air is bad. So we need to do the best we can to help eliminate that. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the next subject, which is the U.S. president planning to leave the G7 summit early to go to Singapore to meet up with Kim Jong-un on Tuesday. And I talked about this in an earlier video about how that whole summit's going to go. And a lot of people are like, well, what's the G7 summit? It's where a lot of world leaders get together and they talk about trade and market and, you know, basically our economy and other things like that. I mean, there's other summits that do that too, but this is one that affects the stock market, and I've been following it. And apparently investors are starting to focus on central bank confabulations next week, but the Federal Reserve is expecting to raise interest rates. But the European central bank policymakers are expected to announce the timing of a reduction of its crisis-era asset purchase initiative. So basically what that is the European banks are going a different route than our Federal Reserve, and it's kind of clashing. It's kind of not going with what both sides want. You know, one side wants them to do it this way, the other side wants them to do it a different way, and it's basically causing some internal turmoil between Canada and France with the United States. So I guess the president's like, you know what, I'll show up for a little bit, we'll talk. If you don't want to meet with us with our demands, he's bouncing out to Korea, which I hope, or not Korea, Singapore, to meet with North Korea officials. So I'm hoping that does happen. I'm hoping that goes well. But again, I told you in the last video, we don't know what's going to happen behind closed doors. We don't know what long-term effects these deals are going to have on our society and other things. But, you know, we can only hope for the best. Because our government at times doesn't really pay attention to its people. For instance, the next segment I want to go into is Puerto Rico. I mean, it's been almost a year. I mean, not total a year. It's been 9 months, I think. The point is, it's been a very long time. And I was reading an article about how Google and a couple other people are jumping to help these people, because our federal government, like FEMA and all that, have been taking their sweet time to set up contracts to rebuild the island and lagging in power restoration. Still 5% of the island is without power. And there's been more than 4,600 deaths since the hurricane hit. What are we doing? I mean, I understand they're not a state of the United States, but they are a U.S. territory. They are still U.S. citizens. And our leaders, our government, hasn't been doing jack to help them. Yeah, okay, Trump went over there for a little bit, but he showed up like, I'm a god, praise me, I throw paper towels to you, help me out by praising me. Like, okay, I'm not a Trump basher and I'm not a Trump supporter, but come on, like, if you're the president of the United States, you don't shoot free throws with paper towels to people that are struggling. You go out there and you help. Like, I don't know. The point is they actually, Google got, I forget his name. He did a song with Jennifer Lopez and a bunch of other people, but they also got J-Lo too, to donate towards this cause. And Google is matching up to $2 million worth of donations. I actually did a fundraiser for my birthday on Facebook to give to Puerto Rico, and I actually gave some of my money towards that fundraiser, towards it too. And I matched up to another, like, I think it was like $20 or $40. But the point is, these people need help. Whether they're a state of the United States or they're just a U.S. territory, they still need help. Some of these businesses are struggling over there to keep, food on the table for their family. And it hits close to home with me because, my daughter is 50% Puerto Rican. Her mother is 100% Puerto Rican. They have family who lives in Puerto Rico, and they were affected by this. Now, thank God that they're all safe, and they're all still alive and doing things over there, but they're struggling and they need help. So I'm actually going to put a link down below. If you want to go and donate towards the cause, that would be greatly appreciated to help them out in any way you can. But I wanted to talk about that because it's just, I think it's just utterly ridiculous how slow our government is when it comes to these types of things. Because all they really care about is, when you think about it, is the logistics of money. And it's going to cost them money to rebuild that island. And they don't care. They don't care to send money over there to help them. I mean, look how long it took for water to get over there and other, trucks. So, point being is our government really needs to be for the people and not for themselves. But, that's another rabbit hole I can go down. But the last thing I want to touch on today is, I don't know how many people have heard, but Anthony Bourdain died today, 61 years old. He committed suicide. And this only comes days after fashion designer Kate Spade also died of apparent suicide on Tuesday of this week. And this is a very touchy subject. I understand suicide, depression, other things like that. It's very touchy. It's very, it's a morose subject. And people taking their life is sad. I empathize with the families. I sympathize with them as well. The things that are happening to these family members, the questions that they have of why this person did this. I looked into both Anthony and Kate, their past history. Bourdain struggled with heroin in the 80s. He even said in one of his interviews that he did a while back that he should have died in his 20s. But he somehow turned it around, became famous in his 40s, became a father in his 50s, and he was doing good ever since. So, and then Kate, she struggled with depression and anxiety, and I can understand that struggle. I've seen it personally, and it's rough. It's a hard road to go down. And both of these people were very successful. Bourdain was very famous for being a chef, and the TV shows he did about food. There's even a picture of him and President Obama slurping noodles, or even a video too. Kate, she built this fashion of purses and sold off her brand and all that. And both of them were very wealthy, very successful people. Yet they still committed suicide. They still had these internal demons and these struggles that in the end won over them. And I'm not saying that that happens to everyone, but I urge you, if you are struggling with issues and you feel like you want to commit suicide, please call the National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273-TALK. I'm going to put it down below. You know, talk to somebody about it. You know, you're not alone. People want to help you. People care. You'd be surprised at how many family members just don't realize that you're going through something. And I know some people would feel like they're weak, or that, you know, they're going to look down upon me. You'd be surprised at how many people struggle with this. You're not alone with this. So I urge you, if you have these feelings, talk to somebody. Call the hotline. You know, it's the first thing that I thought of when I heard these and they said they're apparent suicide, before I started looking into them, I was like, man, this is sad, you know, that this happened. And part of me kind of was like, well, you know, was it really a suicide? Did something happen? So, and I'm not trying to deny the fact that it's not a real thing. The point is I wanted to do research. I wanted to look into it because there have been some things recently with like the Corey Feldman thing and other things happening to where people do get killed and it's staged as a suicide. Now, I don't think that this is the case with these two individuals because they're not really connected. As far as they may be, I don't know, but as far as I could tell by digging into them, into their past histories, they weren't connected in any way, but they did have real life struggles. And so I'm not going to go on a whole conspiracy theory of, well, they were killed. Or no, I mean, I'm not going to take away from the fact that these were great people, but they did have problems. And so I wanted to just share those news facts that are going on today, keep you informed. If there's anything else that you'd like to add to these stories, put it down in the comments below. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it off to a friend if you think they need to hear some news or hear about some things, or if you think it'll help them. But ultimately, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to spread some news, help you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and God bless.